Peace and blessings, everybody, and welcome to another Fearless Friday Live here with me, your host, Asiya Nasir, founder of Woman of Ascension, which is a life coaching platform for women to help truth meet transformation. That's what we do here. We do it real, we do it raw, and we make sure that when we have those deep conversations, those uncomfortable conversations, those coaching sessions that you fear, we make sure that those turn into transformations. I am also a two-time author, and where you can find my book on Amazon, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, Who Am I After All, as well as Nonprofit Doesn't Mean No Profit. So as I mentioned before, you can find my books on Amazon. I am so excited about tonight's topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm really excited. This is something that I've been, wanting to talk about for a while. And there was a mix-up in my calendar and my schedule, and I was like, this is not going. This is not going without us having this conversation. And as you can see in the banner, the conversation that we're going to be talking about that a lot of women struggle with is utilizing their voice, being visible, and stepping into their spotlight. And even some of the words that I'm using right now, women feel very uncomfortable using my voice, being visible, spotlight. Those words sometimes are triggering for women. And tonight we're going to be talking about why it is so important for you to step into your spotlight, to utilize your voice, to be visible. And I'm not talking about loud visible. I'm not talking about disruptive visible. It's funny that we're talking about that, because as I was preparing for our live, there was a lady that was on the phone. I don't know who she was, don't know her, but she was walking, aside the, where I live. She was on the sidewalk walking up and down, and she was on the phone. And when I tell you, I'm on the second floor. I could hear her entire conversation as if though I was on the phone with her. That's how loud she was. And let's not even talk about the language. So she was utilizing her voice. All right. She was also visible because it made me get up. I was like, who is talking like that? And who are they talking to? So I actually looked outside my sliding glass door and I was like, who is this? So she was utilizing her voice. She was very visible, but she wasn't stepping into her spotlight. She was in a space where it was unbecoming of a young lady. It was very unbecoming for a woman to be speaking the way that she was speaking and conducting herself in the way that she was conducting. So I'm not talking about utilizing your voice and being visible in that way. And we have a lot of reality TV shows where we have a lot of women utilizing their voice, being very visible, and they are in their spotlight, but it is also unbecoming. So tonight we're going to be talking about what it really looks like, because some of you are actually sitting here watching, tuning in, thinking like, oh my God, she's talking about me. And that's because you feel stuck. That's because in this space in your life right now, the season in your life right now, you feel stuck. You feel like I'm not standing in my purpose. I'm not where I want to be. And I'm not utilizing my voice. I don't even know how to utilize my voice. I don't know how to step in. I'm an introvert. Maybe your experience was when you did try to, share your thoughts or your, ideas, you were shut down, you were criticized, ridiculed, and things like that. So you're like, you know what? That's a little triggering for me to step into that space of utilizing my voice and being visible. And you're like, spotlight. For some people, spotlight, the word spotlight seems a little arrogant, right? For some people. So a lot of the words that I'm using today can be like, not sure if this is for me. And for some people, it's like, this is exactly what I need. I just don't know how. So let's get right into, there are several things that I want to talk about tonight that's going to help you to really have strategy. And that's what life coaching is all about. I am not a therapist, but life coaching, what it does, it helps you to be able to say out loud what it is that you want, what your vision is, what your goals are, and actually put strategy behind it so that way you can actually take steps and implement and get eventually to where it is that you want to go, and in a realistic time frame for you to be able to accomplish everything that you envision for yourself. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to have a coaching session. That's what our Fearless Fridays are. It's addressing topics and actually implementing it. So I want you, if you don't have one, and you should, every time you come to a Fearless Friday, I want you to have a pen and paper. But I want to ask you right now a couple of questions. And one of the things that I want to address is when you don't utilize your voice, when you are not visible, and when you're not stepping into your spotlight, you're actually more dangerous. That's more dangerous than actually being seen. And a lot of people don't see it that way. You holding in what you should be letting out, you showing up and stepping up in spaces and places that, and you're not doing that, is actually there's more hindrance, and there's a lot of danger, and there's a lot being lost by not doing that. So if you don't think so, I want you to answer these next two questions. The first question that I'm going to ask you is, and I wrote it down, I always write it down, and it's the cost of silence. This is the exercise that this is. It's the cost of silence, because sometimes when we see that something is too expensive, that's when we're like, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. So I want you to understand what the cost of your silence is. So the first question I want to ask you is, who's missing out because you don't show up? Who's missing out by you not showing up? By you not stepping up, and you not, stepping into places and spaces that you belong? Who's missing out? If you're a parent, is it your children? Is it your children? Is it you? This goal that you're aspiring to go after. You're missing out. Are you more qualified than a person that has the position that you want, and everybody at your workplace is suffering? Everybody in the workplace is suffering because they're missing out on you stepping up for yourself, right? So just think about that. Who's missing out by you not showing up? And then the next question I want to ask you is, what opportunities have you already lost because you decided to stay quiet? What opportunities have you already lost because of that, right? And then ask yourself, what were the consequences by me staying quiet, by me not showing up, by me not utilizing my voice? What were the consequences? So I will give you an example of what that looks like. Maybe you not stepping up. Maybe you were, and I'm speaking to women, maybe you were in an abusive relationship. And that doesn't mean physically, but maybe you were in an emotionally abusive relationship, a verbally abusive relationship, right? You have your children watching you, and you chose not to step up for whatever your reason. And this is not a judgment zone. This is not about judging you, but you made a decision to not step up and show up for yourself and be visible, right? You know who's watching? You know who missed out on seeing what a confident person looks like, what a woman can step up and utilize her voice, how that can change the trajectory of things, right? Those children. And the consequence now may be that you're watching your child in a same or similar relationship and not utilizing their voice, right? Sometimes that's the consequence, of you not utilizing your voice. And again, this is not to shame anyone. This is not to make anyone feel bad, but this is to have a real conversation with yourself. Because a lot of times we want to sit up here and we want to have these sugar-coated conversations, and then we wonder why we're in the same place, same space, 3, 5, 10 years down the line doing and saying the same thing. It's because we're not having those authentic conversations and asking those hard questions. So now the sense of urgency steps up, because it's not all about you. There are people that are relying on you, people that look up to you, people that are watching that need you. And when you don't step up, there's a consequence, and there are people that are affected by you not utilizing your voice. So it's more dangerous for you to not use your voice than for you to be seen. For you not to step up and be seen, it's more dangerous by you not doing that. So that's the first thing I want you to embrace. And as hard as it might be, when you're thinking about what the consequences were, who was kind of like the collateral damage because of that, it might sting a little bit. But this is where that makes you feel like, you know what, something got to give, something got to change. So sometimes the reason why we don't step up, don't say what we need to say, don't show up the way we need to show up, is because we fear judgment from other people, right? We fear judgment from other people, and it's blocking us from getting to the next level. Well, what I'm here to tell you is you have to detach yourself from opinions and attach yourself to your assignment. Detach opinions, attach assignments. That's what you have to do, because it's not about what people say. It's not people, whether you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm walking in my assignment every single day, good day, bad day, or whatever. And some days, let me tell you, I'm not my best self. I don't wake up on the inspired and empowered side of the bed, but I still have to show up to my assignment, because I know at the end of the day, it's not just about me. And we're not even going to go into my story, but I know there are other women that have gone through worse than what I'm going through, and they need to hear that voice of encouragement. They need to hear, so even when I step in or I don't, people are going to talk anyway. Whether you step into your assignment, whether you walk into your purpose, people are going to talk anyway. So you might as well, silence the noise and open up yourself and your heart and your soul into your assignment, right? Instead of what are people thinking about me when I say this, ask yourself, who am I called to reach? Who am I called to reach? When I sit up here and I step in, and all of us know, some of us are so gifted at things, right? Some of us are teachers, and we know, well, I'm afraid to this, I'm afraid what people are going to say, right? You don't sit up here and you do what you're supposed to do. You know how many children are in classrooms right now that are just being passed on from one grade to another grade to another grade, and they don't even know how to read, and they're in high school. And here you are, you have a gift of empathy and compassion and a desire and a passion for children to learn. That's you not stepping into your assignment. That's you're not reaching who you were called for, right? I mean, our ultimate purpose on earth is to worship our creator. That's the first thing we got to do, because there is nothing without that. So you have to have that first and foremost. But then after that, God gives each and every one of us some type of special skill set. Some of us are given the gift of gab. Some other people are given other assignments of empathy and reaching people in dark places in their soul and bringing it out and transforming. And you have other people that have the gift of making people laugh, right? You have comedians that they're just gifted at that, right? So who are you called for? So instead of asking, what are people going to think? Ask yourself, change that thought process, and who am I called for? Who am I called for, and who am I missing out? Again, going back to that question that I asked you earlier, right? And here's the thing. This is the reality of stuff. Every comedian don't make everyone laugh, right? Every motivational speaker don't motivate everybody. Every life coach doesn't transform someone's life, right? We actually saw that. Iyanla is amazing, right? She had her show, Iyanla Fix My Life. We saw episodes where Iyanla went in there, poured her heart, and it didn't change a thing. So our voice is not for everyone, but it is required for someone. And if you're focused on trying to gain everybody, you're going to miss the few, the village, the people that you were called for your assignment. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss that because you're too busy trying to grab everybody, which you're never going to be able to do, no matter how gifted you are. When we read the divine books of God, the Quran, the Bible, we see the righteous ones. They didn't capture everybody. Everybody didn't listen to them. So what makes you think that you're going to be listened to by everybody, or that everyone's going to embrace what you have to say? It's not possible, but it's not about focusing on everybody. It's focusing on who you're called for, and they will find you if you utilize your voice and step up and be visible and step into your spotlight, right? So don't think about everybody. Think about the someone that you were called for, right? And understand that purpose is not about people's opinions. It's not about that. That's not what matters, is people's opinion. What matters is that person is impacted, is influenced, is motivated, inspired, because you chose to ignore that and you chose to step into your purpose, right? The other reason why a lot of people don't sit up here and step into their spotlight, utilize their voice, or become visible in spaces and places that they should, the famous one, I'm not ready. I don't have enough training. This other person, they got this degree and they got that degree. And that's not to take away from the person who put in the time, because it's not easy to go to school and sacrifice and stuff like that, right? But sometimes it's not about going to school. It's not about going to school. Sometimes it's your experiences. And the confidence never comes first. It's by you taking action. That's where the confidence come in. And we know that even from God, because faith is actually believing in something and walking in that faith, meaning you have to take action, walking in that faith. And then when you see what God does, that builds your confidence. When you see that it works out exactly how God said it was going to work out, that's what builds your confidence. But you have to take action first. So confidence doesn't come first. So if you're waiting for that, I don't know, that miraculous moment where you're going to feel like, oh, I'm ready, that ready is never going to come. That ready is never going to come. You have to take action first. And then when you take action and you see, because people are going to respond, because you are being obedient to your assignment. You are being obedient to your calling. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing. You are in gratitude for the gifts and the skill sets that you've been given. You're going to attract who it is and what it is that you're supposed to attract, right? So confidence doesn't come first. It's taking the action and what happens after that, right? So I want you to do 3 things that will help you build that confidence and help you step into that spotlight, right? If you're a person that feels like you have a story or you have a lived experience that you think people should hear or that people will be inspired, don't sit up here and say, well, I haven't gone to public speaking classes. I don't know how to. I want you to just hit that live button on your phone. It's on Facebook or anywhere. You don't have to be on a platform. You don't have to be on a TED Talks. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to be on a platform with Les Brown. There are people that they scrolling through social media anyway. Why not sit up there and give them something to find and say, man, we're all connected to our prayers, right? So why not sit up there and post your lived experience where someone can relate to it, someone can be benefited by it, someone can be inspired by it, someone can be motivated by it, someone can be transformed by it. That's what you need to sit up there and do. No fluff, no none of this branding and all this other kind of stuff that you see some of us are doing. This is years of doing. This is where you get to this point, and then you see other people on podcasts and on another level of doing things, right? But we all got to start somewhere. And if you feel that you have something that you got to say, why not start on a free platform right in the comfort of your home on your phone and share that whatever message it is that's sitting on your heart, sitting in your soul, that you're like, it needs to get out. You ever hear people say, I don't know who needs to hear this, but exactly. You don't know who needs to hear this, but God does. And no one's going to hear it if you don't say anything. So speak up, say what you need to say, and do that every day. Doesn't need to be fluff, doesn't need to be, glamorized. Just go out there, just authentically speaking, and you'll be amazed. Most of the time, those viral videos that inspire people and motivate people, those are the ones that people was like, I just picked up my phone and was just speaking what was on my mind. I saw something, I felt something, I just experienced something. Those be the ones that go viral, because it's the most authentic, it's the most real, it's the most raw, and people always relate to that. So never stop doing or saying something and stepping into your spotlight because you feel like you're not ready. You don't need a platform to be ready, okay? And the other thing is, you got to be real with yourself. If you can't have an honest conversation with yourself about why you're not doing something, that's what's really holding you back. Because a lot of us say, I'm not ready, I'm not this, I need time, and all these other kind of things. And even in our life, to walk away from something, to let go of something, we'll make 50 different type of excuses or reasons why we're not. And the real reason is we're afraid of who we're going to be in that new space. It's the unknown. Even if it's dysfunctional, even if we're dysfunctional, that's our comfort zone. That's where we feel familiar. So it's like, I'll take familiar, even though it's dogged, dirty, nasty, raggedy, ratchet. I'll stick with that because it's what I'm familiar with. versus stepping into something unknown, stepping into my uncomfortable zone, having to really do the work. And I find, and this is something that I'm finding with my coaching and just people that I'm talking to, it's sad, but a lot of people would rather stay sick inside. A lot of people would rather have their soul sick than sit up here and do the work. And a lot of people are actually afraid of, because they've lived that dysfunctional life, they don't know what anything else would look like within themselves. So they'll sit up here and say, well, what would actually happen if I succeeded? What would actually happen if I don't need to attach myself to this person or this thing? What could I actually do? What do I have to let go of within myself? What kind of triggers, what kind of trauma, what type of, excuses I've given myself that I have to let go of because it's just comfortable. And now I actually have to show up, right? A lot of people hold back because they're just not keeping it real with themselves. They're lying to themselves about the real reason why they're not utilizing their voice, why they're not being visible. And that's because they don't want the responsibility that comes with being your authentic self. And it really isn't hard. It's actually harder to sit up here and lie. And that's why you'll find that people who do that, they got chronic pain, they have issues, they have all kind of health issues, and that's because they're not living authentic. Yes, there's some stress that comes with being authentic, but when life returns the favor, like we're going to show up for you, when God sees that you're going to trust me enough, I'm going to show up for you, then those things go away. But you got to be honest with yourself and stop telling yourself all these excuses about why you're not doing what you need to be doing. And it's because you're just afraid. And as my aunt just recently, I had a conversation with my aunt, 81-year-old aunt. She said, you got to have those conversations with God and say just that. I'm scared. I'm scared. Help take away that fear, because God don't function in fear. And this is exactly what we're talking about. Fearless Fridays, right? God doesn't deal in fear. So if you're walking in fear and that's why you're not moving and doing and being visible, then ask for that to be removed. Ask for that to be removed. Don't ask to be comfortable. Ask for yourself to be uncomfortable and have the courage and the bravery to step into that space. And you will see. And when I tell you, I'm going through it right now. I'm going through it right now. I'm seeing things actually transforming in my own life because I'm actually being honest with myself about certain things. And this is not the first time this has happened. That's what happens with personal development. You get to another level and then here this comes, you're being tested and you got to go through that trial and you have to be honest with yourself. What am I going to do in this situation? And you're being refined. You know what I'm saying? It's like that diamond that you talk about. It's like that butterfly. You're being refined to blossom in this new space that you're in. And this is happening right now. And that's why this was so near and dear to my heart, right? And what we have to do for those of you who are introverts who, were criticized maybe growing up or ridiculed growing up or made to feel bad because you were outspoken, you have to redefine that word spotlight. You have to redefine that word spotlight. So instead of saying spotlight, because spotlight sounds like I want attention, I want people to focus on me, right? No, you sometimes, words are powerful, and depending on our lived experiences, words can either make us walk into our purpose or it'll keep us away from it. So maybe the word spotlight doesn't work for you. So you have to redefine spotlight, because spotlight can seem like attention, arrogance, right? And it's not about attention. It's about alignment and it's about assignment. That's what that really is all about. You stepping in and utilizing your voice is you actually being in alignment with what your gifts are, your skill sets, and what you were given to do to give to the world. And your assignment that while we're on this earth, we want to all stand on the day of judgment and be able to say, you know what? I left that world empty. I left that world empty. I gave it everything that I had. And now I'm standing in your mercy. You know what I'm saying? But we want to be able to feel confident that we left everything that we had. We every gift that God gives us, every skill set that God gives us, that's a trust that he is giving us. And what are you going to do with that trust? If you have the spirit of compassion and empathy, but you're not utilizing your voice, if you have the ability to show up for someone that can't show up for themselves and you're not doing that, and I'm talking about children, I'm talking about your fellow sister, maybe it's generational and you need to be the one that breaks that cycle. If you don't utilize your voice, that's a trust that was given to you because you have the vocabulary to be able to say, no, this is not okay. So it's not about seeking attention. It's about seeking to be in alignment and be in assignment. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I wanted you to walk away on this Friday to really think about, where you want to be in your life and what you want to do with your life and how you want to show up, more importantly for yourself, more so than anyone else. Because when you show up for yourself, you don't know who's watching and you're not paying attention to that. And that's what makes it so real and so genuine. It's because you're not worrying about what other people are saying and what other people are looking at what you're doing. You're just being your honest, authentic self. So I wanted to share that with you on this Fearless Friday. And I really want you to meditate on this. I really want you to answer those 3 questions that I asked you on the onset, because that's going to give you that sense of urgency and that reality check that something has to give, something has to change. So until our next Fearless Friday, which is in 2 weeks, I want you to stay fearless, stay focused, and stay in purpose. So I'll see you, God willing, in the next couple of weeks.